Hello everyone. This is the 10th part of the story, Percy Jackson, the God of Magic. Chapter 46. After my defeat at Ganila's hands, once again. I am seeing a pattern here. First Clarice, granted I got my revenge, then Annabeth. I also got my revenge. And now Ganila. Maybe I'm actually into girls beating me so I can enact over-the-top revenge plans. I'll have to look into that later. In the meantime, it's time to experiment with my new skill. I knew I could take my mana body enhancement technique to a higher level if I focused on that only. It was clear that I was not an expert on it yet, so there was only room for improvement. The first few days after my defeat, I focused on increasing my overall strength with more mana, but that only backfired, because I lacked the experience to control more power than the one I was already controlling, and not only at that, it seemed my prepubescent body had a limit on how much enhancements I could get. But I was not going to stop there. There had to be a way for me to improve my skills, and then it hit me, what if I enhanced other parts of my body, wink wink. Okay. Going back to that, what if I enhanced, for example, my eyes to see and process the battle faster? Or my brain to increase my cognitive skills? If this worked, the possibilities were endless. I could essentially turn my body into a living weapon, being able to smell better, to hear better, to see better. So I started to work on that, starting with my eyes. At first all I felt was a funny feeling, like water, was running through my eyes, but it didn't bother me as real water would. It was more of a distant sensation, a ghostly touch of something that wasn't there, and while this was, I suppose, a result, it wasn't what I was expecting. Yes, I did feel my mana running through my eyes, but I didn't see any valuable changes. And I am not gonna lie, I almost threw the towel after that, but then I remembered, the eyes alone were useless. I had to enhance the optic nerve to see any improvement if it was possible. You see, the optic nerve is a cable-like group of nerve fibers that connects and transmits visual information from the eye to the brain. This information helps the brain process an asset how to react to its environment, so in theory, the faster this information gets to the brain, the faster the brain helps the body react. How did I know this? Well, when you spend all your life in a hospital and you get 15 surgeries in your eyes, you pick a thing or two. But while this sounded awesome, like me, there were a few technicalities in my plan, like for example, for me to enhance something I had to know exactly where it was, or at least have in-depth knowledge about it. In other terms, I had no idea what my optic nerve would feel like, nor I have a medical diploma to help me out. But I wasn't the sexiest demigod for nothing. I know, totally unrelated, but I haven't got a compliment in a while, and with me losing almost on a daily basis, I needed some self-love. Anyway, before I threw the towel once again, I decided to look for outside help, so with my massive intellect, I went directly to the one person I hoped could help me, Odin. He was known for being the most knowledgeable god of his pantheon, and I knew for a fact he would 5 others' knowledge in exchange for something, so I went to him, and asked to know everything there is to know about the human body. So, you want me? Odin pointed to himself, and I nodded, to give you all the knowledge there is about the human body. He finished, and once again I nodded. Yep, I smiled, trying to hide my overwhelming desire to clap Ganila, non-sexually. You do realize, most people offer an eye to me in exchange for knowledge? Oh.
Yeah.
The eye thingy, not sure I want to go full Kakashi. I do. I nodded, wondering what in the 9 realms Odin did with the eyes. But I am sure you can. I don't know. Sell me that knowledge for a less mutilating price? I smiled. Odin hummed, all right, I'll charge you something else, mostly because the knowledge you are requesting is not that important. He added with a smile, how about a favor? One day I will call for you, and you will come to help Asgard, deal? He extended his hand, his eye on me. A bit ominous, and I will probably regret this later on, but oh well, that's a problem for future Adam, deal. As soon as I took his hand, I don't know how to describe it, it kind of felt like someone pushed a fucking library through my ears, and they didn't even have the decency to lubricate my poor ears. Oh god, this hurts. It always does. Odin sighed. I had to rip my eye for all the knowledge in the universe, and between you and me, that was a picnic compared to the pain I felt when Mimir rammed all the knowledge inside my head. He chuckled. Don't worry, just take 2 ibuprofen and you'll be good to go. Ibuprofen? My head feels like I got a spring break hangover, and he is recommending me ibuprofen. That shit never helps. Water is more effective. I rolled my eyes at him. What about Odin-profen? Is the godly version of it. Odin smiled, like a child, and, well, I took the pills, it was a good joke, so it deserves recognition. I will go to sleep, I said, leaving Odin behind. Next day. The Odin-profen was, actually quite helpful. I woke up with no headache at all, ready to practice my ideas, and, well, let's just say. Mwahahahaha, it actually worked. I tried these experiments with the Valkyries when they randomly came to attack me and won. I won. I fucking won. Fuck.
Yeah.
It wasn't an easy victory though, it was all trial and error. At first I discovered only enhancing the optic nerve was useless. Why? Well, no matter how fast your eyes can see something, if your brain can process that something fast, well, it's useless. So for my eye-breaking discovery, I also had to enhance my brain to process the information faster. And it worked like a charm. I was able to react faster to their acts, considerably faster than before, and thanks to that I win. Though this had some side effects like headaches. I will look into that later, alongside my possible revenge getting beat down fetish. Anyway, besides the mild headache I would get after turning off the enhancement, everything worked perfectly. And the best part was, that if it worked on eyes, it would work on any other part. Hee wink wink, but seriously, the possibilities were endless. I could boost my lungs, or my immune system. I was beyond excited with this. You will rue the day you kicked my ass. 11 times. I laughed, as I machinated the beatdown on the sentry that included but was not limited to Gunilla saying uncle, me forcing her to hear my theme song, and her being cursed to look like a very feminine ballerina for a month, and not any ballerina.
No!
One only likes pink, with an extra big fluffy tutu just to be safe. Moo.
Ha! 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 Ha!
Victory shall be mine. Chapter 47. 1 week of training montages later. I was ready to face Gunilla in battle, defeat her once and for all, but first, it was time to enact my over-the-top plan. First I created an illusion around me that would make me look like a platypus, then I got a top hat. And then I blatantly modified a song from my childhood years back in my first life. I look like a platypus? I asked to none in particular as I saw myself in the mirror. Check. I then turn around to grab my newly acquired boombox, and my new music theme. Alright, I have everything I require to win this, and get my sweet revenge. With a smile I ran outside the room, getting a lot of odd stares until I got to the arena, where Gunilla was waiting for me, and let's say she was shocked to see me. What is this? Gunilla pointed at me, while from afar I could see Odin and Thor laughing. Even Frigg was giggling. This? I gestured to my platypus illusion body, is your doom. You pretend to fight me in that form? Gunilla asked. Is an illusion, my form didn't change. I replied only for her to hear, you will be able to see the real me once we start fighting. Of course I didn't actually shapeshift to an animal that can't throw a punch. I think, but everyone else will see the platypus. I smiled like a madman, putting the CD I had worked on the boombox.
Do.
B.
Do.
B do ba.
Do.
B.
Do.
B do ba.
Do.
B.
Do.
B do ba.
Do.
B.
Do.
B do ba. And so the fight started. First I enhanced my optic nerves and my brain, followed my body. With my speed I approached her, and started throwing punches at her while dodging her attacks with relative ease. My brain was processing the information faster than she could punch. He's a semi-aquatic, prank-planning mammal of action. At this verse, I smiled, punching her in the face with the force of a cannon. Bitches love cannons. You changed. Gunilla muttered, trying to deliver a kick to my side, one that I parried with my knee.
Do.
B.
Do.
B do ba.
Do.
B.
Do.
B do ba. Well, I have discovered how to cheat my progress, I smiled, getting in a few jabs before having to jump back to avoid her grasp. He's a furry little flatfoot who never flinched from a fry. I see, Gunilla muttered, determined to win this. She decided to take the offensive. But I was expecting this, and with a smile I charged at her. With my eyes and brain as they were, it was easy to avoid her attacks, almost too easy. I still had to know how to act, but still, I wonder if this is how every other normal character felt when Madara was clapping them cheeks. He's got more than just mad skill. He's got a beaver tail and bill. Pushing through her attacks, I stepped on her foot, interrupting her footwork, and delivered an uppercut with all my strength that lifted her into the air. This disoriented her. I could see it in her eyes as she struggled to move to avoid a damaging fall. And the women swoon whenever they hear him say, "I am a true believer of gender equality." Taking this chance, I locked her on a hold, my arms around her neck and my legs around her torso. Yield. He's Adam. Adam the platypus. Gunilla trashed around, but soon conceded, declaring me the winner of our first duel. He's Adam. Adam the platypus. Yes. I laughed, helping Gunilla stand up, who was glaring at me. What? I am both proud and angry at you, Gunilla growled. Did you have to beat me with all of this? Was the song necessary? A warrior doesn't need such things. This warrior does. I gestured to me with a cheeky smile, and yes, it was all necessary. You sent your sisters, the Valkyries, to beat me while I was taking a dump, sometimes even when I was sleeping. I haven't slept for more than 2 hours a day since that day. Do you have any idea how terrifying that was? I asked her and she said nothing. At that I smiled, lowering my voice a couple notches. If you ever send your Valkyries again after me, in the sanctity of my room, I will curse all of you to look like animals. Illusions, of course, but good luck getting respect when all you see is a chicken with a sword. This was just to show you I can do it. Fair enough. Gunilla sighed. Oh. I almost forgot, I smiled. This smile wasn't a normal one. No, this one was of pure unadulterated evil. Enjoy looking like a ballerina. With that I casted the curse, and ran as a platoon of Valkyries chased after me, with their fairy-looking leader, Gunilla, leading the charge. You will truly enter Valhalla today, for today is the day I kill you. Gunilla shouted, and all I could do was laugh and run. The tutu was a nice touch. Sometimes I love my evil genius. Thor point of view. When the All-Father said Adam would beat my daughter soon, I did not expect this. This had to be the most hilarious and ridiculous way to beat someone. He turned into a platypus and defeated Gunilla in less than 3 minutes. Odin laughed. It's settled. He shall be my new drinking/battle buddy. I stated, slamming my hammer to the ground, shattering the marble beneath my feet to dust. This was to let everyone know that if anyone wanted to fight me for the honor of drinking and fighting alongside Adam, this was the time. No one will fight you for the honor, Odin declared, and with a smile and 2 beers I ran to greet my new pal. You are free to try and befriend the kid, he chuckled as he saw me run. Our adventures will echo through the 9 realms. I laughed. Chapter 48. After my awesome win against the Valkyries, and the awesome chase afterwards, I decided it was time to go back to the camp. It had been some time since I saw Hestia. Though I had a little problem now. Thor, the man, literally declared me his best friend and had basically shoved beer down my throat. The man was not like I expected, then again Marvel sold a very different version of him. This Thor was vulgar to the point he would fart mid-conversation and act like nothing happened. But I had to admit, he was hilarious at times. But I couldn't stay here. I missed Hestia. I missed her, she was my best friend. Thanks for everything, I thanked Odin, he was a really nice god. Don't worry, Odin chuckled, but if I were you, I wouldn't let Zeus know you were here, he will get some wrong ideas about why you were here. I looked at him, curiosity surfing in my face. I thought he already knew, I pointed out. Nope, all he has seen is you, training in a wasteland close to Ohio. Odin winked at me. Why are you leaving my friend? Thor asked. I am needed in the camp, I lied. I see. Thor said, sulking down in sadness. I hanged out 3 times with him, what the actual fuck? Don't mind him, Odin snorted, he is just sad he didn't get to show you his man cave. Okay, I decided to ignore that for the moment, thanks for everything Odin, I thanked once again. Take care child, Odin smiled and with a snap of his fingers I was outside New York. Neat, I chuckled, he had saved me the trouble of teleporting myself, now time to walk back to the camp. It took me around 3 hours to get to the camp, where I got a few odd stares from the people around. Oh, they thought I had died during my quest. We didn't expect to see you here, again. Chiron galloped to my side, a deep frown forming on his face. Some here assumed the worst. I go out for a month and a half, and they think I died? I tilted my head in confusion. Nobody stays that long on a personal champion quest, and well, returns alive. Chiron sighed, you should go and talk to Lady Hestia, she has been beyond worried for you. I looked at Chiron for a second, before nodding. Once that weird chat was done I ran to my cabin and opened the door, and as soon as I opened I was tackled in a fierce huff by Hestia. I thought I killed you, Hestia cried, I couldn't find you anywhere. Great, I made Hestia cry. I'm going to hell now. I'm okay, I hugged her back, I just couldn't contact anyone from there. Asgard was too far away from Midgard for my magic to reach. I'm sorry, Hestia muttered, wiping her tears away, her usual warm smile returning. I just had a bad feeling of you being out radar for so long. As if I would die. I winked at her. Where were you? Hestia asked. Don't tell anyone, but I was in Asgard, I whispered. Hestia's eyes widened in shock. But, how? Unless you are a god or of Norse decency you can't enter. Well, it seems my magic allowed me to enter Valhalla, and I took the opportunity to train there, I chuckled. By the way, they have better things than us.
Yeah.
The hotel is awesome, Hestia agreed, all our glory and stuff in Olympus. My brother barely pays attention to the camp. Odin is sometimes the opposite. So you know him? I asked. I do, we gods know each other, we have clashed a few times with many pantheons over time. I remember when Frigg came to us, begging every Olympian to promise not to hurt Balder. Days later he died. Hestia sighed, I also remember when Zeus and Odin met. I feared a new holy war was about to start. But Odin managed Zeus's temper very well. Odin is a very good politician, one that doesn't care about his pride if it means getting what he wants. I couldn't really tell if she was complimenting him or not. I see, I nodded. Did they treat you well? Hestia asked. Yes, I had my own room, food, and they let me use their equipment to train. I chuckled, flexing my muscles for dramatic purposes. I see, Hestia giggled, very impressive. Well, for a 12-year-old it is, I nodded, and Hestia snapped her neck at me, and grabbed me by the neck. Sorry? When in doubt, say sorry, especially if the person holding you can vaporize you. You turned 12. Hestia asked, and I nodded, and you didn't have a party. This won't do. Hestia is not a big deal, I assured her. I drank some Pepsi with Thor. I smiled. I never had a party before and I'm okay with that. My response had the opposite effect of what I intended to do. Never had a party? Hestia gasped. I will make sure you have the best birthday ever. It was a we. I stopped seeing how excited she was, and it was not like she was going to stop. Fine, let's celebrate. I will start working on how to get your sister and brother to your party. Hestia hummed, oh I know, Zeus wanted some of my brownies. I will trade them for his permission to let Artemis and Apollo come down to the party. I also have to invite Hades and Persephone, and ban Ares and Aphrodite from coming, so much to do. With that she teleported in a burst of flames. It seems she's gonna enjoy my birthday more than me, she's sometimes too adorable to be an all-powerful being. Knock. I turned to the door and opened it. Standing outside my cabin, two familiar faces were looking at me in contemplation, Percy and Annabeth. Sup, I waved at them. Annabeth, please don't, Percy muttered, and Annabeth smiled. Revenge. Annabeth shouted with mad delight, taking a stink super bomb, one that manufactured to sell out of her backpack, and with a swift swing she threw at me. The old me would have been hit by it, but this version of me had to pee while holding a knife in case a Valkyrie tried to jump me. So much to her dismay, I grabbed the stink bomb midair and stared at Annabeth. So, if you can tell in one sentence why you thought this was a good idea, I will let you go free. I smiled at her, holding her stink bomb on my right hand. I thought the element of surprise was what I needed to beat you. Annabeth answered. I see, I chuckled. For your honesty I will give you 5 minutes to hide. 10 for Percy. He seems to deeply regret this, I said as I saw the fish demigod running with all his might, leaving Annabeth behind. He literally ran the moment I said 5, he didn't even hear if I gave them 5 seconds or minutes. Thank you. I'm going to need all the time I can get to hide from you. Annabeth smiled, and like Percy ran. Oh how I missed home. Chapter 49. After the failed pathetic attempt Annabeth had made to try and get back to me. I mean, who the fuck yells revenge before actually getting it? Is after when will people learn? Anyway, after that sad attempt I was invited by Chiron to the arena to fight and practice my skills without magic. And with my new skills itching to be flexed, I agreed. My first fight was against Lee, my nephew. And it went like this. It is I. Lee. Lee proclaimed, I am sorry your fist fight has to be with me. But fear not, I will defeat you as quickly as possible. He ran towards me, and I slapped him out of the arena, literally. I moved my hand and slapped him with the back of said hand, and he was out. Alright, now that the back of my hand is all warm up, who's next? I asked with a confident grin. This result shocked everyone. Chiron was staring at me. Annabeth in her tampon Halloween costume I cursed her to wear for a month was also staring at me. Wait, no, she was glaring at me. Oh, okay, it wasn't because of the fight. It was because of the costume. Anyhow, everyone except Annabeth was shocked. It was no secret I wasn't the best at non-magical combat. Percy, you are next. Chiron pushed the Nemo-wearing costume demigod to the arena. And I think we all know why he was wearing that, right? Good. Let's see how you do, without magic, Percy muttered, not sounding too sure. Come on Nemo, just keep swimming, I smirked. Percy rushed at me, and like Lee, a single slap was enough to push him out of the arena, though unlike Lee. Percy was still fully conscious. Since when you are this strong? Percy asked, blood dripping down Nemo's mouth. I eat my veggies, and take plenty of juice, I replied, and he took it seriously. Oh, I see, must be the food Lady Hestia gives you. Percy was sometimes so dense. Are you gonna continue the fight? Chiron asked. Nope, Percy shook his head, and Chiron sighed. He bitch slapped me 20 meters into the air. I already have enough stuff to deal with. I don't want fractures in that list. Would you look at that Annabeth, Percy is wiser than you. I laughed and Annabeth growled, oh don't be like that Miss Tamponbeth. You will get your turn once a month. Oh that's it. I'm next. Tamponbeth jumped into the arena. I will kick your ass for old time's sakes. Kinky, I chuckled. Sure, why not? Chiron shrugged and the fight started. Tamponbeth rushed at me, her sword ready. How predictable. I inwardly chuckled at that, so with a smile I ran towards her, intercepting her path, grabbed her by the arm and slammed her to the ground like a sack of potatoes, knocking her out immediately. All right, who's next? I looked around. Luke? Clarice, please tell it's Clarice. I am good, Clarice mumbled. I don't mind giving it a shot, Luke smiled, but beneath that smile something dark was shining. Something that even with my empathic power off I could feel it. Well, let's fight, I chuckled. Luke jumped into the arena, as Chiron carried Annabeth, and in the blink of an eye he was in front of me, his sword a few inches from my throat. The old me would have lost right there. But the new me, not only was more awesome, sexy and crazy, but had a severe case of PTSD, and using all that, I ducked under his attack. One thing was for sure, he was faster than Gunilla. Me dodging his attack caught Luke by surprise, who then dodged a right uppercut by jumping backwards. Impressive. You have improved beyond what I expected, he complimented, sounding angry. The fuck is wrong with this dude? Well, like I said before, eating all my veggies helps, I chuckled, sticking my tongue out at him. And while I was giving this general vibe I didn't care, well, I didn't. I still decided it was best to take him seriously, so I took all my mana enhancements to the limit. An advice worthy to live by, Luke smiled, rushing at me once again, closing the gap between us in the blink of an eye. But this time I was ready. And not only I dodged his blade, but I managed to deliver a jab to his nose, breaking it much to my surprise. Maybe he had yet to bathe on the river of the Styx. So, still wanna go? I asked. Luke growled, running at me. This time his intention was not to win but to kill me. Close your eyes, I advised him, and unfortunately for him he didn't heed my advice, so I kicked the dirt around to his eyes, and disarmed him with a kick, throwing his blade to the side. The gods love you, the campers love you, you get to be recognized by all of them, you get to do whatever you want. Luke muttered, and by the looks of complete meh around I was the only one hearing him. Why you? That cry carried something underneath, a presence that made me shiver out of the feeling of pure malevolence. His voice was now emanating. Kronos. How can I be the only one feeling this? Oh.
Yeah.
Everyone here besides Hestia sucks ass. Bitch. I'm adorable, and that's why. I replied with a cocky smirk as I ran at him, slamming my fists to his head, knocking him out. Ain't nobody got time to deal with Kronos right now. It seems, you became an exceptional warrior during your absence, Chiron complimented. Though your style now closely resembles a Norse berserker, he hummed. I will give all the apples I have in storage if we stop this conversation. Wait, had I done a racist thing? Offering apples to a half-horse man, a centaur? Deal? Oh, he took the deal, which means I'm in the green. Chapter 50. After my training duels, I was welcomed back to my cabin with totally expected surprised party that somehow Hestia managed to pull out in the span of an hour. Then again, considering she was a god, this wasn't really that surprising. We had fun, and I got a lot of presents. Artemis gave me a hunting knife, Apollo gave me a 70-inch widescreen 4K TV, Hades gave a small set of Stygian iron weapons, and Persephone gave me an underworld servant. As for the rest of the people inside the camp, nobody came. The fact Hades was inside the cabin was more than enough to keep most of them away. Percy and Annabeth came. Although they were cursed to look like stupid characters, they did. As for the rest of the camp, idiots, for real. Avoiding someone as nice as Hades is ridiculous. But nonetheless, I had fun. That was until I learned something, you see. After the party, I saw some campers started to leave, and at first, I was like, oh, they are going on quests, but then, I noticed the numbers kept increasing and increasing. Why were so many campers leaving? Wasn't this place supposed to be a permanent type of place? Are you going to stay, or? Hestia asked, seeing my lost gaze at the campers in the distance. I thought this was supposed to be a very camp-like prison, I muttered. Well, the reason no one was allowed to leave before was because of the symbol being supposedly stolen by a demigod. Hestia clarified, I thought you knew that, she hummed. I really need to investigate things more thoroughly. I see. Well, as long as I can get out freely, I don't mind. And to answer your question, no, I will stay. We have a much of movies to catch on. I winked, and she snorted. That sounds like a plan, Hestia smiled, leaving to the kitchen. Inside, I was screaming, so many plans to gain my freedom back, and it seemed I had achieved that a long time ago. Well, as much freedom the idiot of Zeus allows me. We all know all he sees in us is tools and sometimes booties. Alright, time to try my TV, I sighed. Setting the TV was easy, and now I had something inside my cabin besides my multiple consoles that would help me procrastinate.
Ah.
I love putting my responsibilities in the back until they come back to haunt me. As I was watching the rerun of Supernatural with a delicious box of chocolate ice cream, I felt someone approaching. With a sigh, I saw as Luke basically kicked my door down, breaking my TV in the process. That was a 70-inch. 4K TV, I inhaled sharply. So how can I help you? You are going to answer me. Why is it that the gods love you so much? Luke sneered, holding his sword to the right. I worked to the bone and all I got nothing, and yet here you come, and in months managed to befriend 2 of the first Olympians. Tell me how. Do you really want to know? I asked, grinning. Yes. Luke growled, his eyes glowing for a second. Do you really? Really wanna know? I asked once again. Yes. Luke bellowed in anger. Well, he asked for it, fuck you, that's how. Luke started to laugh, a laugh devoid of emotion. No, his laughter had emotions. But they felt heavy, like a wave of despair. Hestia is not here, nor is Dionysus, he stated. And what? I asked with a yawn. I wanted to talk to you. Luke's voice changed to something sinister. More dangerous, it was unmistakable. I was now talking with Kronos. I have seen your deeds for the Olympians, and I have seen how little they give you. You deserve better. Oh, is this the part you tried to seduce me into the dark side? I knew Kronos outclassed me, but he wasn't here. Heck, he didn't even have the power to harm me now. They will never let you fly, they will clip your wings. That's all my son does. Stop anyone with talent in fear they might overthrow him. Kronos said, join me, rise to be only beneath me. With me, you will always be free. What about my cookies? I asked. What? Kronos said, after a long second of silence, probably processing what I had said. My cookies, the ones I should get if I join the dark side, I asked. What? I will not dignify that stupid question with an answer, Kronos growled through Luke. What? I gasped, there aren't any cookies in the dark side. The audacity. Then I am afraid I must say no, my good sir. I bowed dramatically. Now if you'll excuse me, I will go and tell Tail Zeus, his drunk dad is back. It's a shame really, but it was to be expected. Kronos smiled, and that made me lose composure for a second. Why was he smiling? I knew for a fact he didn't have enough power to kill me. Yes, he could force my way some nightmares, but that was about it when it came to his current power. Not only that was canon, but I could feel it. His mana was nothing to be afraid of, nothing like Zeus or Hades, or even Hestia, and yet, he was smiling like he had won. Why? I knew from the moment I saw you, that I had to kill you, and unfortunately for you, my pawn can't do that. You surpassed him, but fear not. At that Luke, or rather Kronos' moving look, pulled a crystal. Let me extend you an invitation to my current home, so that we can have a personal conversation. With a smirk he broke the crystal in an explosion of black shadows, and everything I was feeling was replaced with a sudden sensation I could recognize. I was falling. As I felt to God's know where, I focused on what he had said, his home. His current home. I was falling into Tartarus. I left the ice cream out. The ants will run the place by when I manage to get out of there, I lamented. This marks the end of part 10 of the story, Percy Jackson, the God of Magic. Thank you for listening. Please like the video and hit the subscribe button to listen more. Hit the bell icon to get notified of all the new content uploaded to the channel ASAP.